Hi, this is Dr. Canadian Ninja, and I'll be showing you how to get gold stars on Beauty Hard, which is 800,000 points and 100% purification. So these green pods are easiest I found to start the tracer, so get in the habit of using that when there's no Octolock available, and that'll be most times you see these. And you may have noticed by now that some parts of the audio are quieter. That's my biggest tip. Go into the menu, reduce the sound effects to almost nothing because they can get distracted at the point. It's much easier to keep track of the beat without distractions. Especially for the boss here. The boss here can get really annoying with a lot of distractions. Now these guys, you don't have to Octolock them, and you don't necessarily want to. I do this part a little slow, and you want to do it before these guys show up, because otherwise they'll start shooting at you. These ones though, you want to Octolock. Now these butterflies that show up now, there is a reward for purifying all of them in this area with just one Octolock. And the point there is just, you'll see me do it a lot with at least these first four, just you have to get the entire Octolock in before they close their wings, otherwise it won't count. It's a little harder with the fifth one. Now for this part, 8 guys come out of these pods, and if you destroy the pod too early, it'll stop them from coming out and you'll lose your 100%. So wait for that and know which ones have enemies, like that one, and which ones have missiles. So those first two, and then this one. And here you might want to take a break from the missiles so you can kill those guys, because as you see, they fire at you and that really slows you down and keeps you from paying attention to these guys. At this point I missed the Octolock on the butterfly, so I just spammed instead. You can easily get that one on a single Octolock as well, but this is hard. I focused on the bullets before this guy. I probably could have done it there too anyway, but I just spammed it anyway. Now, in this upcoming area, I spam a lot, especially right now in the beginning since the music is kind of muted. You don't want to focus on the big guys, you want to focus on these small fish. But at the same time, you want to get a lot of this over quickly. Generally, if you have the time, you want to get 2 Octolocks in and then spam A so that you purify him before he disappears on you. Well, in general, 2 Octolocks and then spamming is a good strategy for those big fish you'll be seeing pretty frequently. Like right here, I do it again. Want to Octolock these 2, I think you can get in about 3, if not 4, and then once those fish show up, just start spamming because you're about to lose these 2. And then once again, right here, just take out those little fish early. You'll have 3 chances to deal damage to that guy, so don't worry when he runs away. Because the last thing you want is that guy firing at you, or the next one firing at you. There he is on the last one, and on this third one, just spam, because that's your last opportunity. Now, these ones are about to just fly around behind you. I missed one there, so just spam A on this part, just so you hit them all. Unlike normal in this section, these small guys take 2 shots to defeat, and they will start firing missiles if you leave them for pretty much any length of time. So you just want to spam unless you have a situation like right here where you can get an Octolock on. Right here I spam because I have a tendency to lose them there, but you could get at least one off before you can spam there. And I do that here. Now, I did absolutely terrible on this section, and eventually I just started spamming. But you can octolock them and then just take out all the bullets. Ow. Ow. Don't do that. At that point, I was a little panicked, so I just spammed at this point. That set we just passed, you can octolock that set. This one I get the octolock on, try to get another one, and I just lose patience and start spamming. And again, this section, spammed as well. They'll pass by you, you can spam like I did right there, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can always use a Euphoria. That also keeps you from getting at least a 50,000 bonus. You'll want to go through that gate at around 300,000, and as you've seen, you can do plenty of spamming and still reach that. I got about 310, 320. It's a bit difficult to miss 100% from here, but it's possible, and I'll point it out when it happens. This boss is the main reason I thought to lower the sound effects, because it makes a lot of noise, especially when it starts opening up in the second and third forms. So at this one, you'll want to take shots when you feel comfortable with it. Bosses on hard tend to be more about survival and patience rather than finishing quickly. The most important thing is to maintain your multiplier, again, the whole sound effect thing I mentioned. That's where the points for 800,000 come from, and why you don't have to worry too much about taking every octolock you ever get. You'll see me hesitate a few times on well, this entire boss, just to make sure I've got the beat, especially when I start getting a few good ratings in a row rather than perfect. Now you're going to hit with the tracer a few times, so the last shot is not likely to be an octolock. Aside from that, I've mentioned everything you need to know. Like right there, for instance, that was only 5 shots. Now, with this form, the petals don't actually give you any points, so you want to just spam them as quick as possible so it opens the center. That center opening right there is, again, the main reason I'd suggest turning down the sound effects, because just that opening ends up drowning out the beat in the background. So it's a lot easier to keep your beat here. And here I'd recommend doing 2 octolocks rather than 3, because the third one, you get the credit for the octolock, but a lot of it just, you don't get, not all the shots land, so you don't get credit for it. So 1, 2, 3 if you're feeling lucky. And that's why you want to be quick. If you take too long, it starts firing a lot of missiles at you. Don't let that happen to you. Also, if you lose your multiplier in this fight, even though the petals don't mean anything, you can always use them to get a higher octolock. And at that point it's for free, since you're not doing any damage to the boss. Now, this form is similar to the first, but now it distracts you by shooting missiles. On this particular pattern, and it goes through 3 of them, focus on the missiles ASAP, because you are not going to get them all. On the other 2 forms, you can get away with focusing on the petals, since the missiles disappear upon opening. For instance, you see the missiles there, and now they're gone. Now, again, this is on hard. I don't plan to do this video on normal, because you can use most of the same strategies, you just have to octolock more in the second and third areas on normal. If you want a guide for that one, Quantum Mercury, who is Sajiko Sakura on YouTube, has made an excellent gold star guide that I used as a starting point for really just gold starring anything in this game. I'll probably end up including a link to that in the description. when the music changes like that, follow him immediately because he's not going to stay in front of you, and it's possible he'll fly behind you and then do something like this. And if that's the case, you'll probably have to use Euphoria to keep from being hit. Aside from that, it's just business as usual. He fires that one time and then just flies around for a while. So try to stay a little ahead of him, because otherwise he'll just stay away from you. Right there, you'll see me hesitating to make sure I've got the beat. So when he comes back to a position like this, stop firing, focus on the bullets. You want to get hit as little as possible in hard. I didn't take the Octolock there because I knew he was going to do that. Don't risk it at this point. And if he starts doing this, you've pretty much got an easy street. Now, when he starts doing that, he's about to go into the final form, so just queue up an Octolock and wait for him to do that. One last shot. Now, this is similar to the first form, except he fires a lot more pollinated bullets at this point. So you don't necessarily want to just go up and take a shot in between bullets, because, as you'll see both there and a bit later, especially for instance right here, stopping to take another shot would have been disastrous. If you didn't get hit like I did when, well, I was basically an idiot, you can afford to take a shot or two. At the same time, you won't really want to. Again, I could probably finish him off right now, but patience. Now this is where you're going to lose your 100% if you're not careful. You'll want to know how much Euphoria you have and how many points you have, because you could already be there now. In this case, I have about 730,000 all through Euphoria, so I just spam this section because I get the 100,000 at the end. If you have 2, make sure you have over 735,000, because spamming this flower gives you about 17,000. If you're a bit lower, it's just basic Octolocking. If you got this far, you've got it, trust me. But you can't stop and make sure you have the beat very often. That's how you'll lose your 100%. At this point, you only have maybe another 5 seconds, 5-10 seconds, I'd say. So once you know you're over 800,000 with your Euphoria bonus, just spam and finish. Right when you saw my reticle disappearing, that's how much time you have. So if you stop and wait for the beat too often, that's where you'll lose it. Bleep bloop. Thanks for watching.